Hi, it's Jan Beta again, and I wanted to give you a bit of an update on the butchered Amiga 500 I repaired in the previous video. And yeah, this has made some progress. I recapped the whole board, all Panasonic caps like I did with the other Amiga, so I didn't want to film that because it's kind of repetitive. I filmed that with the other Amiga, which I will link in here. I wanted to show you a few things about this. The first thing concerns these two little resistors here that were originally carbon type. These are metal oxide. I replaced these because they were quite badly burned. And what they are is basically what I think they are is they are limiting the current of the plus and minus 12 volts that go to the serial port here. And Gadget UK, another YouTuber, whose channel I highly recommend because he's doing this for much longer time, these retro computer and retro console stuff, and he's much better at it. And I learned a lot from his videos. And he seems to be a very nice guy, so I had some conversations on YouTube comments and on Google Plus with him, and yeah. He seems to be a nice guy, and I will link in his channel in the corner here. There, maybe. So these resistors, and he said basically that if these resistors are burned, there's probably something wrong with these fellas here. The 1488, there's a 1489, I don't know what that is, but the 1488 is a serial chip that controls the input and output of a serial port, which is of course the most common protocol is the RS-232 thing, which is it's basically still in use and was in use for quite some time. It's the standard serial protocol for and the standard serial connector is RS-232. There is this 25-pin D-sub connector, and there's a 9-pin D-sub connector, which is more common nowadays. This is kind of old school, but it's kind of an old school computer. So yeah, basically he said if these were cactus, most probably something would be wrong with the other circuitry connected to the serial port on this Amiga. So and as there's basically nothing I have to connect to serial port at the moment here, I did a bit of research. Yeah, and let me show you what I came up with. I basically made this, which is, as it clearly states, a serial loopback cable, which is basically the serial connector for the serial port. And you basically connect the send lines to the receive lines, and you can then basically use the serial port to send data and at the same time receive data on the same port and check thereby if it works. So, and I showed you before the Amiga Analyzer software that I used to check the memory and stuff. Basically the software came with a box that had these connections in it, and also for the parallel port and stuff like that. And yeah, I just thought I would make this because it's not so hard to make, and a serial loopback cable is quite standard, and you could use it for yeah, troubleshooting serial ports of all kinds, I guess. This is a bit special. I will show you in a second. Basically, you connect this to the serial port and let the software run. You can also use a terminal program of some sort to just send data and see if it receives the data. Yeah, basically that's what this does. Let me show you. So yeah, I'm connecting this to the serial port, basically, and yeah, then I'm starting the Amiga. and it still works. And I'm going to boot up the Amiga Analyzer. And I'm actually using my flat screen here because, yeah, unfortunately my CRT, my Philips CRT you probably saw in the previous videos, started making some weird noises, and yeah, I guess something's wrong there and I have to give that a look in one of the coming videos, I guess. Yeah, so for now we're stuck with the composite signal on this screen, I guess, which is not perfect, but it'll do. So, and as you can see, this has a serial test. And here's basically what the pinout is. So you can, I basically copied the connections I made from this here. So you have to connect pin 2 to pin 3, and you have to connect pin 4 to pin 5, and you have to connect pin 6, pin 8, and pin 20 together. That would be the standard serial loopback cable I found all over the internet. I will probably show a little circuit diagram of that, or circuit diagram is quite too much for that, the connection diagram or whatever you want to call it. And on this particular analyzing software you also need to connect the RI, which is the ready signal, to the 20, the 8 and the 6. This is 4 wires really connected together. Yeah. So let's run the test. And as you can see, it sends data out and receives data. And yeah, it does it in an endless loop until I end the test. And then it says if it passed the test. And I did this before, I let it run for an hour or so maybe. And yeah, it totally passed the test. And I salvaged the connector I used for the loopback cable from one of these guys here, which is from an old PC. I salvaged this some time ago, some years ago I guess, before I even started the whole electronics thing. I ripped this out of an old PC that was going to the trash, I guess. And yeah, this came in handy. This was the connector I used. This is the 9-pin serial port connector, I guess. Yeah. So, yeah. You probably, if you're a bit of a tinkerer, you have something like this lying around somewhere that you can use. And you can also, of course, buy these connectors for cheap, because they are really still standard connectors. So let me show you what the other issue with the Amiga I wanted to show you is, which is not quite, it's not so nice. So let me show you. Let's see if I can reproduce it. So I played quite a lot of games with this and everything worked perfectly fine. Yeah, I showed you how I played Turrican in the last video, which worked a treat, and everything else I tried basically worked a treat too, until I tried to boot this and do something with it. Let me show you. I'm booting up Workbench 1.3 it is, and as you can see, it's all working perfectly fine, and it seems that the Amiga is is healthy again. So here we are, our Workbench screen, and let me show you. I can open up the disk just fine. Can't seem to be able to reproduce it now because I did some cleaning on it. I'm afraid it works just fine now. Oh, or does it? No, the Workbench disk has some issues there, I guess. So what this did before, now maybe I have to check the drive again. And the disk, of course, because it's an old disk. Yeah, what this did was to, it seems to be the same issue. I just wiggled a bit on the CIA chip. And what this did was, I double-clicked some icon, and it would just freeze, basically. And not like this, but it would just halt the system, and if it did anything more, even the pointer would freeze. And everything else seemed normal. It was not going into some kind of software error, or wasn't restarting itself or something like that. So I did a bit of research, and it seems that this problem is also a common problem when that happens if the even CIA doesn't make good contact or is faulty. And what I tried was to wiggle a bit on the chip again, and it solved the problem. And then I had a look at the socket the CIA came in, and it was quite corroded and dirty in there. So yeah, I tried cleaning it up, and it didn't work properly. So what I want to do is to desolder the socket of the even CIA and put in a new one. I have some sockets in my parts bin here, and see if that fixes the problem. So yeah, let's do that. Oh, and I should of course take out the CIA. And as you can see, it was quite easy to disconnect this, which is also a sign that this is really worn out. So I'm going to use my desoldering station again, which you've seen me use before, so I won't tell you anything new there. What I always like to do is to make a little marking which component I want to desolder, so I don't mess it up, basically. Yeah, so let's see. Should be easier than the PLCC socket from the last video, but you never know with these old boards. You really never know. Okay, I got the old socket out. It was quite a pain because my desoldering station was clogged at some point. And yeah, I basically used solder wick and did it by hand, so to say, because I was too impatient, which was a lot harder than if the desoldering station had worked. So let's put in a new socket and solder it in, and then put it back together and see if that helped our little problem. And if you are buying these sockets, always make sure that you get the ones that the legs of the chip are gripped on from both sides. Either these or the precision sockets with the round holes. They are also very good. These are, they're just one-sided. That means that only one side makes contact with the chip, so they fail quite often. That's what this did. So yeah, let's clean this side up a bit, I guess. And then put in the new socket here. Should fit in there. Okay, and I got put the socket in and I'm gonna solder it. Okay, so new sockets in and soldered. Let's put the CIA back in, I guess. Let's see if it still fits. Oh, let's put some contact cleaner in there because yeah, it's basically lubricating the contacts so they don't corrode. So of course you can do this only if you have a good contact cleaner. Don't do this with anything that degrades plastic or stuff like that. Wow, this is really good, tight fit compared to the old one. Maybe I should do this to the other one at some point also, but yeah, for now it seems to be in a better condition than the other one was. So yeah, let's see if I messed something up or if it still works, I guess. Okay, let's turn this on. It helps if I connect the power plug. Oh man. Yeah, that's what I usually do. I usually cut this out, but in this case I'm gonna leave it in, I guess. Oh, that's so stupid. Where is it even? Too many power cords here. There it is. So, okay, now this time for real. Let's turn it on. Let's put the keyboard a bit further away there. So, okay, let's turn this on. Yeah, and the red light comes on. And we have a display on the screen. And I don't know if you can hear it, but the disk drive is also ticking every 2 seconds, as it should be. So yeah, let's boot up the Workbench disk, I guess, and see if we still have glitches or freezes there. Okay. Let's test some things here. This might just work. So I think, yeah, this might just do what it's supposed to do. No glitches so far whatsoever. And it also, let's see if I'm wiggling on the chip here, but it should make contact now much better than before. And that should have fixed the issue here. Yeah, so basically I think that's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you want to support me, you can always click all around and click on my Patreon and give me some money, or yeah, you can always contact me, give this a thumbs up, which always helps a lot on the YouTube channel world thing. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon.